Hi guys, welcome to Tax Planning Internazionale. I'm Luca Tagliatella. Today I'm gonna share with you a piece of story of my life about taxes, freedom and friendship. And now these three things mixed up together in a beautiful landscape scenario where you don't get to pay taxes at all. Guys, welcome again. We are on the beautiful beach of Ipanema. Today the weather is not exactly the best ever, but actually it's helping us with the shooting. I'm here today with one of my best friends ever and who happened to be even one of the most talented tax lawyers in South America, especially from Chile. So welcome Francisco. Can
Thank you, Luca.
introduce yourself just a couple of minutes to let us know
Yeah, well,
who you are actually, but we'll get to that, you know? Because
I'm a lawyer. I come from a family of lawyers. My father has a very old office in Santiago de Chile, and we've been living there together and working together since 1960, probably.
sounds
70.
wonderful to me. So you were born in Chile, let's say many years ago. You always been to Chile as a lawyer. You specialize in Chilean tax law.
Exactly, but as you remember, we did together the International Tax Law Program of Wirtschaft Universität in Vienna.
Exactly, which is
2000
part of the story.
2015, 2016, we had a fantastic time, and that helped me a lot with international clients.
We did actually. It was 2014 pretty much. So that's the year where our story began, and it's even my personal one. Because at that point of time, I used to be Italian tax resident, but then
Exactly.
something clicked inside of me and I said to myself, why am I supposed to pay taxes for the rest of my life when we live in such a beautiful environment? And that master gave me the chance to experience for myself and by myself which kind and how many chances do we get in this world. And this brings us to the relationship within taxes and freedom, which
Exactly.
I totally embraced. And actually, I should say, even due to our brilliant conversations during back to that time, you know, you really
conversation.
opened my mind. And actually, especially because you live in the region I like the most. All over the world, I should say, South America. It's something I. So how is being a tax lawyer in South America?
Well, Chile is a little country. It has somewhere between 18 to 20 million people, inhabitants. But the good thing about Chile is that it's super well located. We have the Andean mountain range to the east. We have the Pacific Sea to the west. A very beautiful desert in the north, and the Antarctica in the south.
I'm paying you a visit in a couple of months.
I'd love to. But it's a secluded country. We are somewhere else in the world. So I wouldn't say it's very good for tax-wise. If you want to move there, yeah, I mean, I would suggest you do a few things before you do. But it's very good geopolitically, because we are on the other side of the world, hanging from an Andean mountain range, looking at the sea.
So this gives you which kind of advantages, geopolitically speaking?
I would say it's in general, it's that we are far away. So
being a little bit isolated from the rest of the mess
exactly.
can grant you a little bit of neutrality and calm.
Exactly.
So you can think straight before acting.
And we have a strong banking system. The real estate market is super steady also. So it's a good place to invest. I would say some part of your assets, it would be interesting. We have a very good and nutritive tax treaties network,
Okay.
which started on the early 90s.
Okay, but let's take a step back before getting again to Chilean tax system. In this very moment, I'm more interested about you as a man, since I know you to be a very free spirit. So, how did you manage to spend your life in just one country? You know, because we care about diversification, getting assets abroad, visa, passports, no? But still, of course, you know, you were born so, your father is a lawyer, so you have a very successful law firm to run. But I want to know, as a man, what linked to you, to Chile?
Mainly children, but specifically I would say that we people don't have to be subject to any place in the world, but our capital has to be somewhere else allocated, really. So if you live in Chile, you can have, for example, real estate property somewhere else in the world, and you don't have to own it personally. You can own it via a special vehicle that you make for owning real estate or some other assets. If you want to have, for example, a bank account abroad or a wealth management program with a big bank in Zurich, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, if you have any CFC problems with your own personal taxation in the country of origin or where you're living right now, there's another thing.
So you're saying basically that your way to enjoy and embrace freedom is planning about taxes and wealth.
Of
So
course.
that's your way of express your inner freedom
Of course,
somehow.
of course,
Of course, you get to travel a lot, and you, as me,
luckily.
live in an international tax environment and network, so you get to travel very often because of clients. You have many
A lot.
clients in Europe at all. So, but freedom and taxes goes together because both are about diversification.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
Exactly. And since what you have to understand, and I think that's what you have done throughout your career, is that what is exactly the taxable problem? ¿Cuál es el hecho grabado? What would you say in Spanish?
See?
So when you realize that the taxable thing is being in a place for more than for a time period or whatever. So when you're assessing yourself and what do you want to do with your assets, what would you like to do, where to invest, how are you going to diversify, then you will have to assess and choose a certain jurisdiction under whose laws you're going to be better tax-wise.
And this is possible from Chile, from a Chilean perspective. How easy or hard it is, you know, to express freedom for a client tax-wise. As a Chilean tax resident, am I free to go, come back, invest, set up vehicles, having my wealth be managed abroad? Is it something, how hard it is?
No, from Chile it's not hard.
That's
Chile,
very interesting.
Chile is a super free country. We had a dictatorship from 1973 to 1990, which was of course very bad, but at the same time economically it was from a United States perspective, it's a super neoliberal country. You know, the economists that made all the laws were from Chicago, and so it's a liberal country, basically. We don't have any problems with
It's
the
how
mobility of
neutral it
capital.
is. You know, how do you depend on the USA or not?
No, well, I think everything depends on the US right now.
The
wouldn't you
empire
say?
is the American
Exactly,
empire
yeah.
in charge.
Yeah.
Now are the states. So in a way, either you depends on US or China.
Exactly. Well, and it happened. Have you heard the story that the US is like very similar tax-wise to the Roman Empire?
No, but it's very fancy to know.
It is, right?
You mean the way they arrange their tax system is
Yes.
very similar to the one from the Roman Empire.
Exactly. Yes.
As an empire, it makes sense. You know, it just what. But I guess everybody does as the Romans used to. No, actually, it's not that I'm not saying this because I'm Italian. I'm saying this because in the end of the day, the longest empire, historically speaking.
Yeah,
so actually, everybody takes an
Yeah.
example out of the Roman Empire and makes totally sense.
Yeah. For the
So
main-
you would say you are a provincia dell'impero.
Exactly. Yes. Of course.
Okay.
But still, nonetheless, we are isolated from the rest of the world, and that's the very highest importance of Chile. If, for example, right now Ukraine and Russia, for any reason, would deploy their nuclear weapons,
Which is actually kind of happening
of
these
course,
days.
of course, all the radiator fumes would disperse before going to Chile, apparently.
Okay.
But
Okay. No, it's totally. I get. I've been traveling for a while, as you know, through South America.
Of course,
And I've
yes.
been to Panama, Paraguay, Uruguay, Brazil now, and I'm gonna pay you a visit as soon as I can. So, in these regards, how important is for a client, for an individual, to get new visas? No, because I don't want to say it because we actually don't know if the Third World War hypothesis is going to say so or not. Pero con una visa I can access to new level of freedomness. And that's the thing. But how hard is to get the Chilean visa?
It's not hard. You would usually need a lawyer, really. That's the main thing.
And that's the reason why I'm interviewing you.
Exactly.
guys.
Yeah. It should cost you somewhere around 3,000 to 4,000 euros. But it's easy. You can do it via a proxy, so you don't have to do anything by yourself. Yeah, it should take you somewhere around 6 months probably.
And what about the tax burden as a Chilean tax resident? Even if we should say so, we should specify that getting a visa, it doesn't mean you get to be tax resident in that
Exactly.
country.
For the first 3
Getting
years.
a visa is meaning just, it's an identity card, it's an ID document that allows you to get in and out of the country, let's say as you please. So that's give you
And do businesses and set up companies.
investing in real
Of
estate.
Yeah, well, but for example, if you are an international tax person for these purposes, I would strongly recommend that you don't hold any assets personally, but you hold them via a special vehicle in Chile or somewhere else. And then you have another tier from Chile, Panama, Liechtenstein, BVI, or whatever suits you depending on where you're coming from, what are your other holdings, and so on.
So as an entrepreneur and getting advised by a Chilean tax lawyer, but I would say this is valid worldwide, you're supposed to not to own your assets as
No,
an individual.
Never. But never.
As an entrepreneur, it's not
Never,
gonna
you
happen.
have never.
Okay. In order to be as free as possible,
Exactly.
you have to own nothing.
Exactly.
Not a thing, literally.
No, of course. I mean, you own a company, probably. You own shares in a company, but that company is your holding company, that where you have all your things, your real estate, everything. And since you are an international person, you are untraceable, really. Especially if you have everything via a holding company.
How hard it is, generally speaking, for the tax authorities to come after you when you are very much diversified?
It's super difficult, really.
Because
It's
in the
super
end of the
difficult.
day, we know there are protocols in place.
Yeah.
Tax authorities all around the world are supposed to work together. But in the end of the day, technically speaking, it's very hard. Now, of course, we're not saying, guys, we're not talking about tax avoidance, neither
No.
tax.
Especially not in public.
Exactly. That's not what we do. In private, somehow, it's a subject that come up, that can arise, but not in public.
No, not in public.
Okay, I get your points, but how about the South American mentalities? I mean, dealing with clients. How easy is for you to let them understand the importance of diversification, moving, traveling, investing? Because South America is a very traditional country, I want to say conventional country, in my view. A very conservative country.
Exactly,
So,
yeah.
you know, a client might say, look, I want to stay here, I don't want to go abroad, I'm too scared. So how do you manage?
We had a very big social burst on 2019, and exactly as you say, Chile was super undiversified, and the allocation of assets was roughly somewhere between 90 to 80 to 90% only in Chile. Okay?
Exactly what I'm
yeah,
saying.
exactly. Of course. No, I understand you. But after this burst on October 2019, and then after the pandemic,
Okay.
there was a very big reallocation of assets worldwide. That's why right now we are receiving visits from Deutsche Bank, Julius Baer.
And this has happened for a cultural switch in the matrix.
Exactly. Yes. It was
Well,
a
let's say
cultural switch.
People understood because of the universal block. I don't know how to better describe it. Probably people went scared, you know.
Yes,
What
exactly.
if the country failed? Because if no business activity can be run, probably, you know, when a country is not really economically stable, and I don't know much about Chile in this regard, I will ask you. It's good to invest abroad. No, probably that was the switch in the mentality.
Exactly. Yes.
I got it.
Diversify geopolitically, basically. That's the main target right now, and it's super smart because at some point we are importers of goods and services also in Chile, so you will pay that in dollars. The dollar went from 600 to 1,000, so it was a peak of, I don't know, 40, 50%
Yeah, pretty
in a
much.
point. So it was super huge.
Okay.
And that way, if you have obligations in a different coin, you would usually want to have inversions or assets in that coin.
Makes sense.
Of course.
Totally sense. So people were, let's say, it's all about money. It's always about money.
Oh, it's money and hedges, I would say.
I
Really,
got it.
it's a hedge. I mean, if you have a big debt, you own a, I don't know, airline company, and all of your obligations are in euros or in dollars, you have to have an investment in euros or in dollars.
Yes.
Because otherwise, you are not protected against the fluctuations of the
I
coin.
understand. So
Yeah.
that was the switch. Generally speaking, probably all around the world, but especially in South America. And speaking of South America, what do you think of country very, let's say, aggressive, we might say, tax-wise, such as Panama or Paraguay specifically, which is kind of trendy this year, I should say. Everybody keep on asking about Paraguay, even I'm not very convinced about it as a tax international advisor, actually.
No, because you don't know what's going to happen with the rules that they have right now and what's going to happen after the regime of the president ends. Apparently, he's a very conservative person in general, and it should be a good idea. The 10% of net worth, 10% of VAT, 10% of renta,
Personal income
10%
tax,
exactly.
Saying.
But
Paraguay happens to be kind of stable as a country, geopolitically speaking.
sí,
I'm much worried about the development. No, it's a developing country, of course.
Sí.
I'm much worried about how the money that are about to flow into the country will be handled.
exactly.
That's my preoccupation now
Exactly.
about Paraguay. It's very
It would be the same for me.
so.
Sí.
So
I would
that's
try.
why
I would go
Dubai.
to Panama. I would go to BVI. I would go specifically if you have assets in Europe. I would go to Liechtenstein, even though it's super expensive. It's a very steady, wealthy country. They're super serious. I like better Switzerland and Zurich. for-
Old-fashioned, let's say tax haven.
Exactly.
I'm properly saying.
But they're not tax havens anymore.
No.
They have rules that they exchange automatic information with every country. So right now it's not a problem really.
No, I totally agree. Actually, even countries such as Monte Carlo, Monaco might be used in proper structures if,
Of course.
finally managed by professionals, of course.
yeah.
And I like to go and pick countries where the tax law has a little bit more of history.
Exactly.
Paraguay is really interesting, actually, but in the end of the days, and actually, it's not very easy to handle as a tax system. But again, it's a little bit too aggressive so far.
I think so. I would prefer, for example, if you set up a structure in Uruguay, where
Exactly.
you have a trading company, for
Yes.
example, that owns, I don't know, royalties or your company's main assets that can be easily allocated. I wouldn't say steel and coal, you know, but if you have ¿cómo se llama? Property, IP, intellectual property, for example,
IP
royalties.
rights. I got it.
Exactly.
From Uruguay. Uruguay is
From
very
Uruguay.
interesting.
Super
actually,
interesting.
as a territorial taxation
Simple,
tax
exactly.
system is actually very, very good. And through these vehicles, of course, one of our advice is always to buy real estate through companies.
Of course.
Offshore companies, which is exactly with what we are up to do here in Brazil.
Exactly.
At some point, the two of us, it's gonna be just look for the right apartment and then buy through BVI. Probably is the
BVI, would you say?
I would say BVI for buying real estate. I would say it's very private and
it's super fast.
it's fast. It's tax efficient. Bank account might be easily linked to the BVI, which is so. Actually, yes, I would say BVI in this very moment. Laws might change, of course. We can take a look and we'll let you know about our investment, of course. But I would say BVI now for dealing with Brazil. Even if this will in this moment, that's the complexity of our job. Unfortunately, even in Brazil now there is a kind of revolution dealing with taxation. So let's see what it comes.
Okay.
But anyway, Francisco, I would say thank you very much for bringing us your view about international tax advising. Was great seeing you again, by the way, after 10 years,
pleasure.
after Vienna. So let's see where the world will bring us in the next 10 years.
Hopefully in an investment on real estate here in Rio de Janeiro, Luca.
That's happening. We're going big in Brazil. So thank you guys for watching us. Please subscribe to the channel not to lose the next videos. And we'll see again in the next one.